baseball teams of the junior college. So when I went to University of California, Berkeley, I became, what else? A journalism major, and graduated with a degree in journalism, and had no intention of going to law school, but because of my in Cal, if you want to be a reporter, you went to Northwestern or someplace else. If you want to be a journalism major at Cal at that time, you studied and grounded yourself in political science, international economics, history, and so forth. So I had more units in that category than I had in journalism. The one thing I graduated feeling is I'm not ready to be a reporter. There's too much out there that I still want to explore. So I entered law school because I didn't want to work as a reporter.
I didn't want to work as a distributor where Dad put me just after high school.
Yeah. And I worked in college and in law school. I don't think you could do that today, I don't know, but I worked 35 hours a week going through law school and undergraduate because my parents couldn't afford to pay for my college education. We didn't have student loans.
He wasn't about 10 years younger, so he didn't have GI Bill.
Yeah. But when I graduated from law school, I'm at the same point in my life. I still don't know what I want to do. But one thing I'm very concerned about is going to work for a big, huge law firm and just becoming a minion, working on litigation for 2 years of my life. But I was very fortunate in my career track. I kind of felt that I'm going to, about every 2 years, I'll try a different aspect of the law. So I went to work for the state. I went to work for the Legislative Council, learned how to draft laws, and then I became a redevelopment attorney. I didn't know a deed from an easement.
Well, this law was just created about the time we skipped law school.
Right. And then I became city attorney. And then when I joined my firm, after being city attorney, I had a passion for what I ended up devoting my career to, and that was a passion for rebuilding cities and improving the quality of urban life.
And I got the same place. My son asked me when he was working 3-year summers for us, what's the passion in there? What happened? In our office, we cared. And it was a passion. Solving problems is a heck of a lot of fun, too. This is not the minion being the minion.
That's right. Anything else? You want to know?
I have a question for Gene. He's a good friend. Gene, Joseph Campbell, the great thinker and expert in myth, said, "Follow your bliss."
Yes.
That's what we did.
Is that
Yeah.
what you did?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you if you had found bliss in what you've done.
I think we both have. Someone once told me in my firm, said, I envy you tremendously because you have been able to integrate your practice of law with your hobby and with your personal interest and with your traveling.
Yeah, I would have worked for free, except my wife wanted me to bring money home.
And I would also say that Gene is one of the best gospel doctrine teachers I have ever had experience with. He's a many-faceted man.
Gene is one of the few persons that I've befriended who can talk about any topic. And you can let your hair down. You can talk about religion. You can talk about politics, whatever, without fear of censure or controversy or anything else. And we've had some spirited discussions.
Yeah, but usually they're trying, how do we solve this problem?
Yeah, that's right.
You dummy, why didn't you know that before? So that Murray doesn't get the
Yeah.
Let me just ask, because I've been the beneficiary of this, but I view Gene, and I suspect you've had the same experience, as being a phenomenal mentor to those working around him. And I suppose the question is, based on your experience, how do you sort of develop the ability to do that mentoring? And if you're a young lawyer, how do you find the people who will give you that kind of mentoring training?
That's a good question. I'd like to ask. Most of the lawyers in my law firm that were good could not mentor. I'd wander down the hall and mentor a young attorney and find out that he was in trouble, and I'd go and tell the guy, and he hadn't noticed. You got to find the mentors. I don't know where you find the mentors first. There's plenty of kids that want to be mentored, although I don't think they know they ought to be. But mentoring is the key to this whole thing. You ought to practice the law. If you even go as a minion, don't be a minion. You get a mentor.
When I look back, I had mentors that were important to my practice. And they were different types of people, but they were, and they led by example, not by lecture. And I tried to mentor that way myself, but the difficulty is that the practice of law now is structured such. It's structured for production and not for teaching. And so my opportunities to, and I think we're both teachers. When we have a sabbatical program in our firm, about every 10 years, 10% of the partners are off on sabbatical. When my first sabbatical, which was at the very beginning of the program, kind of set a high standard for others, because I was invited to teach at MIT, actually institute a course in land use and redevelopment in the Graduate School of Urban Studies at MIT, and with a higher aptitude in science and math than anything else. I was way up there. It was like a wonderful opportunity to spend 4 months at that institution. But I think deep down I'm a teacher. It shows up the way I negotiate, and it shows up the way I like to communicate with other members of my firm. And it's been very important to me to have mentors, and I tried to be a mentor for others.
Well, I could practice, gave up an awful lot of money and became a teacher. Anybody that comes to this institution to teach gives up money if they're any good as a lawyer. And so the teaching is on for me too. Yeah.
Are there firms in Salt Lake that are doing this type of redevelopment work, and do you know what they are?
Are there firms in Salt Lake City that do redevelopment work, Gene? Do you know what they are?
No, I didn't. He didn't really, he never added to his staff. Sometime he had some person with him. I've forgotten his name at the moment. If you want to give me your address, I'll find out.
Thanks.
He'd know of, I don't even know who's doing the Salt Lake thing. Up there, they don't need a redevelopment, right? They just need the Mormon church, plenty of money. They're doing something I can't believe it even makes sense. But they're doing what you're saying, they tore down all the stores, and they're starting over, and they're talking about $2 billion,
Yeah.
over $2 billion of development. So if you can get involved with the church's attorneys, or the city attorneys that are working on that, there's jobs available that are going to run somewhat in the very training you'd get if you were with one of us.
The Urban Land Institute, Eugene was a very active member and got me into it, held its conference in Salt Lake City last spring, and had presentations on some of those projects, but they were presentations by staff people. I didn't see any attorneys there. Thank you very much for allowing us to reminisce.
Thanks.
Pleasure to be here. Hear some of those reminiscences. It was fun.
I wasn't sure. I didn't think you'd be here.
I didn't know about this. I just walked into the law school this morning and saw it advertised. So.
Well, we sent notice to you.
Well, probably sent it by email.
What? Yeah, well, theirs is on the floor somewhere. Did I tell you about what he did to me once? Both our offices were absolute messes. Both of our laws.
Good to see you.